And to get us in perspective, Richard Rosso from Washington, D.C. is joining us live on this broadcast. He's a senior advisor and chair in U.S.-India Policy Studies, CSIS. Mr. Rosso, thank you so much for joining us here on WION. Good to see you. Before I come to the U.S.-India policy and how the future looks for the two countries, let me quickly assess your assessment, about how close this election is. What are you making of it?
Yeah, there's really boils down to 7 swing states. Both of them have flipped between Democrats and Republicans over time. It looks today like the polls show that Trump may have slight lead in majority of those states, but they're too close to call. So we're going to be certainly up all night and probably into the next couple of days watching as the results come out there. And it has a meaningful impact, of course. Very different approaches to how they're going to look at the U.S. domestic economy as well as international relations.
Now, there are also more than 2 million Indian American voters eligible to vote this time. What are some of the concerns you have heard, and how are the two candidates pitching them?
Well, a lot of times they don't necessarily rally around issues that are about their Indian identity per se. Maybe some issues like immigration would be impactful, but a lot of times, they're business owners. They want to make sure that, the way that tax treatment is handled for owners of small businesses, inheritance, things like that. Those are very powerful, meaningful issues. And so I would say probably a lot of the issues fall squarely within the same ambit of any other American. They want to see tax rates reasonable. They want to see stable policy. They want to see the opportunity to grow and to thrive. And so whichever president they think is going to be able to bring that tends to be where the votes go.
All right. We also spoke to the president, CEO of the U.S.-India Strategic Partnership, and here's something he said that caught my eye. He said Kamala Harris's approach would be structural, Donald Trump's approach would be transactional. Would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, to some extent, although, we did see there were some, I would say, structural changes that the Trump administration had made last time around. Our approach in evolving how we kind of approach China had been moving, I would say, relatively slowly when we saw that China really is threatening American interests all across the Indo-Pacific. And when you've got successive administrations that basically kind of build on each other, it's hard to move the needle in meaningful ways. But when you have a president like Trump that is willing to disrupt everything that had been happened before, then some of those challenges that maybe we've been slow to react to, we escalated a little bit quicker. But on the other hand, some of the issues that we know are going to be confronting us also in the future, like climate change, where he is a little bit more careful and interested in trying to appeal to oil and gas firms and those that produce a lot of emissions. So we suddenly saw the United States, both domestically and internationally, carrying forward weaker commitments in terms of climate and environment. So there were some pretty meaningful shifts that impacted in one fell swoop a lot of our partnerships across the region, sometimes helpfully and sometimes less so.
Right. Mr. Rosso, before I let you go, if there is someone sitting in New Delhi listening to you right now, someone who wants to study or work in the United States under the next regime, what would a message that you would send across?
Well, overall, I think that you see the dramatic spike in Indian students coming here and studying in the United States, still incredible opportunities at American universities. They're trying to add a little bit more flexibility and the ability to stay after getting a degree and work here for a while. But I think, a lot of the exciting opportunities that are going to lie there in the future lie in India itself. You see tremendous growth rates, a rising population. So a lot of exciting things happening on that side of the ocean as well. I suspect India will be prioritized no matter who wins the election. We saw it during the Trump administration last time around. We expect Kamala Harris presidency will maintain a lot of the same policies and programs of the Biden administration. Probably the one big change, I think, under Trump is you'll see a little bit less encouragement of American companies to make outbound investments to India. You see in the joint statements when you've got leaders meet of American semiconductor firms and others, that's an area I think that will get a little bit less intensity. But overall, India is one of the more, I'd say, protected relationships when you think what might be at stake depending on who wins the election.
All right, Mr. Rosso, thank you so much for all your insights. Good to speak to you.
Yeah, thanks.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.